quality score, is this something that people are familiar with? Just very quickly by a show of hands. We got 2. Quality score is a score out of 10 that is assigned to every single keyword in your account by Google, and it's a score of relevancy. So what Google wants to see is that the keyword the user looked for is in the ad copy, is on the landing page, that there's this path of relevancy, and then based on that, they assign you a quality score. They also utilize click-through rate as a proxy for relevancy. So the higher your click-through rate, the higher your quality score should be. This is a chart that illustrates the importance of quality score. Where you rank in terms of your ad is your bid multiplied by your quality score. What we find is that if people are starting to fall down on a page, if they're in the 5th, 6th, 7th position in terms of their ad rank, they'll just throw more money at it to boost up the ranking. Throwing money at a situation usually isn't the best option. I would focus on your quality score. Focus on the other variable. That times quality score is the key piece. At a 7 out of 10, you're basically where Google would expect you to be. And these quality scores you can find in your keyword tab. They're not hidden. They're there. So Google provided full transparency into it. At a 7 is where they expect you to be. Anything below a 7, you start to see your costs go up. So at a 6 out of 10, maybe your CPCs are 16% higher than they should be. 5 out of 10, 40% higher. If you're at a 3 out of 10, about 130% higher than what you really need to be paying. So your costs substantially become inflated if you don't focus on this quality score. Conversely, 8 out of 10, you're going to start to see cost savings. Google's actually going to start to reward you. 8 out of 10, you might see your CPCs come down by about 12%, 9, another 22%, a 10, another 30%. So huge, huge savings to be had here. We had one client. Now this absolutely is an extreme, so don't expect this. But they were a big client. They had a big, big budget. Over the course of the year, we moved them from a 7 to a 9 on average. They saved $250,000 over the course of 1 year based on this quality score. So it is a key metric. And the one thing to note with quality score is that the history stays with you. If you're running an account and you have quality scores of 4s, 3s, 2s, that's bad history. And the longer you run with those poor quality scores, the worse the history is going to be, and the harder it's going to be to turn your campaign around to bring those quality scores up. And that history is tied to your URL. So you can't simply close your AdWords account, start a new one. So it's something I recommend you definitely trend out. You just want to make sure that it's not at a point where it's hurting you. Cool? Yep. The quality score is your keyword tab. So within the interface, if you look at your list of keywords, if it's not there, then you just go to your columns option, and I can show you after. But it may be a hidden column. You just show that column, and every keyword will have a score of 10. Just to illustrate what those factors are, just when you get this deck, hopefully you do get this deck, you can refer back to it. A little matrix of some very quick tips. What to do if you have a low quality score. Tighten your ad groups, write more relevant ad copy, test match types, more relevant landing pages. If you have a low click-through rate, add negative keywords as a starting point. Your click-through rate are clicks divided by impressions. Most people, again, will focus on the clicks. Try to drive more clicks to drive up that click-through rate. If you focus on the denominator, the impressions, and you try to filter out those irrelevant impressions with negative keywords, with exact match, you'll start to see that click-through rate go up. And again, that click-through rate is what's going to increase quality scores, help to bring down your cost. So it's a very, very simple, effective way to bring down those costs, bring down those CPCs, increase relevancy, and really get the type of account that you'd hope to see. Running out of budget. One of the things that I really don't like to see in an account is that you're running out of budget. And Google will be very, very explicit if you're running out of budget. They will throw alerts at you. They will say, you are, well, running out of budget. Give us more money. To me, if you're running out of budget, if you're limited by budget on a daily basis, that means there's certain decisions that need to be made to tighten up your campaign. I have never had a client who has had enough budget to play in the space that they want to play in. So you always have to make decisions. Some of those decisions, day parting. We already mentioned how you can split your bids, how you can exclude the hours of a day that don't convert for you, that send lousy traffic. You can exclude days. If you know on the weekends you're getting traffic, but that traffic doesn't pick up the phone, doesn't submit forms, you can exclude the weekends. Tighten your geo-targeting. I mentioned from the very outset that a lot of you guys, I think going towards a very locally focused, a regionally focused strategy is probably a good starting point. What you don't want to do is go Canada-wide. Canada is a huge country. Different pockets are going to convert differently. I mentioned Gotta Rent, how we have some locations that have a cost per lead of 45 cents, some $20. If you segment out your locations, you can better control those, you can better monitor those. You can start excluding those areas where, you know what, quite frankly, the ROI isn't there, and focus on those areas where it is. If you're not meeting budget, if you have all of this money that you want to spend and you can't spend it, some other things to do. You can expand your keyword reach. Maybe you've become too focused. Maybe you've gone exclusively exact match from the start and you're actually missing out on a lot of opportunity. Google has an opportunities tab. Check it out periodically. See if there's anything in there that's worth going after. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Use the search query report. See if there's any opportunity that you're missing. If you see that there's certain keywords that are getting a lot of impressions, but you don't have an ad group built out around it, test it out. Build something around it. Put up a relevant ad. Point it to a relevant landing page. Test it out. See what the traffic is like. I've said expand your geographic targeting. I've seen clients where they've tried to get way too tight. They've tried to go 20 kilometers around a postal code. That you might just be cutting the traffic off at the knees. So do try to expand it out a little bit. And then as you expand, you can start to find that sweet spot. Any questions about that little matrix? Some very quick tips to, yep. Yes. So within your campaign settings, almost all of these things I'm talking about are on your campaign settings tab. You can target down to the postal code. The issue with that is it's all based on IP. So, if you're trying to target somebody in the Durham region and you go right around a postal code, but they live in Toronto and have a Toronto IP, they're not going to see that ad. Which is why I do sometimes see these campaigns that are so focused. We know people live there. We know people are searching there. But because of the IP issue, they don't see the ad. So that's why you may need to start to expand outward. But yeah, that targeting is all available. Cool. I'm going to talk about a couple key features. But before I do, anything, we good? This is fantastic. This is like the third section that I've just aced with no real questions. What a good crowd. So a couple key AdWords features that I really want to point out. The first one is site links. Site links is the ability to add 4 additional links to your ad. Can everybody see that? Kind of? Ish? Ish. So what it is exactly what I said. Up to 4 additional links that you can append to your ad. This snapshot I took was from New York. I tried to find somebody within Canada in this space who had it enabled. Nobody did. I had to go to New York to find one advertiser who had enabled this. This feature has been available for over a year. Couldn't find one person in Canada in this space who was using it. Site links I've seen increase click-through rates by about 30% on average. Conversion rates for the most part have held steady, which means conversions, absolute number of conversions have gone up by about 30%. This is a feature, again, that nobody's using. So any one of you could be first to market with it. Go test it out, try it out. It's very, very cool. Oh, there we go. So it is 4 additional links. So when I say additional links, you can choose to send people to listings for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. Maybe that's one way that you segment your audience. And that's what it will say in the ad, in a row, and links to those pages, those inventory pages, those pictures of those rental spaces. You could put price ranges. So right off the bat, you're qualifying the user. If you know that somebody clicks on that link, you can send them in a price range that fits their bill, and all of a sudden that person's a little more engaged. It's an additional line. Yes. It expands your ad from those 2 lines to 4 additional links. It makes your ad stand out, draws people in, and they become a little more engaged with your ad. So again, it's one of those features that you can use to stand out from everybody else. We've seen it work for almost every single client that we've implemented it for. And right now, as far as I could see, as of 6 a.m. this morning, really nobody else in the space was doing it. So go test away. Yes? Oh, there's a good question. Within your AdWords account, there might be a tab that's hidden that's called Ad Extensions. To find that tab, at the end of your list of tabs, so you have campaigns, keywords, ad groups, ad copy, and then you'll have a drop-down arrow. Click on that, and there's a couple different options that you can make visible. One of them is Ad Extensions. Ad Extensions is where you can find site links, where you can add those site links, and you can also add location extensions. Location extensions is the ability to add your address, to add your phone number. In some cases, it's presented as an expandable button. So somebody clicks on an expandable button, they get your information, they get a map. People become very engaged with that. Again, we see click-through rates go up. People become engaged. The eye is drawn in. It is awesome. Test it out. You can also sync it with your Google Places account. So if you've already gone through this process of adding locations, listings to your Google Places account, you can associate that account with AdWords, and this will all automatically be done. What's Google Places? Who's familiar? Anybody Google Places? Is this something that we want to quickly? Sorry. Google Places is a Google account that you can set up where you can essentially add addresses. So if you're a brick and mortar store, you can add the various locations of that store, the phone number, that sort of thing. And then when you link that with AdWords, it will dynamically pull that information into your ad. So this is an example of where that's happening. That top ad, again, had to go to New York to find this. Us Canucks really aren't utilizing this right now. But it is 100% available to us, so test it out.